How y'all doing out there, man? Man, it is a wonderful Tuesday afternoon to be an Eagles fan out here in Texas, man. It's a little cold. We just had a winter storm come through here throughout the South, so it's colder than normal than what it's supposed to be in Texas. Uh, shit. So when I really come to think about what it's like to be an Eagles fan right now, it's a beautiful thing. It really is a beautiful thing. Like, I don't care what the media is spinning as far as narratives today. I don't care like what they're saying about the questionable passing game. I don't care what they're saying about Jalen Hurts right now because he is in his second NFC Championship game in 2 years, and obviously that's something exciting to write home about. Now, if you're a Commanders fan, you're going in there with a rookie quarterback. You're going in there in Philly in hostile conditions and for a chance to make history. Being the first team with a rookie quarterback to make the Super Bowl, I don't think that's ever been done before. Um, well, actually, I think it has been done before. I think in 2004 or 2005, Ben Roethlisberger did it with with uh, with Bill Cowher, if I'm not mistaken. Someone correct me wrong if I'm wrong on that one. But this is history because how quickly the Washington Commanders were able to turn around a franchise that was bottom of the barrel, like one of the worst in sports history. That like all that stuff going on with Dan Schneider, the whole sexual harassment cases, and the continual losing seasons. Outside of that, I think that year with Taylor Heineke, where they took the Tampa Bay Buccaneers down to the wire. Um, like an amazing performance, if you will. But to turn around and be in the running to go to a Super Bowl, if you happen to make it through Philly, because I don't think y'all gonna make it through Philly. I don't think the Commanders are expecting what's about to really happen. Like they think they're gonna come in here and it's gonna be some kind of close game or whatever because of what happened in our second meeting. Um, hey, what's up, Cheryl Millwood? How are you? Um, the Commanders have a delusional sense of reality right now. Think about what's happening right now. The Commanders really, really think they're going to come into Philadelphia, where we have been in these conditions before. Hey, what's up, Anton King? Hey, how you doing? How you doing? Hey, remember, guys, like, subscribe. If you're coming in here, man, love talking to you guys. What am I doing today, man? Hey, man, just making a video on my team, the Philadelphia Eagles, man. We're going into our second NFC Championship game in 2 years, addressing a lot of narratives that the media is already spinning right now. They're still talking about a passing problem with the passing game that does not exist. Like, did we not forget the Super Bowl of 2022 where Patrick Mahomes literally threw for under 200 yards and won a Super Bowl? So why is it such a problem when Jalen Hurts does it? Why is it such a problem? Like, did we not see the AFC divisional game with Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen? Josh Allen didn't even throw a touchdown pass. He didn't even throw a touchdown pass, less than 180 yards. Jalen, and if you put Jalen Hurts' stats next to Josh Allen's stats, they are identical, literally identical. But it's a narrative. It's a narrative for each quarterback, and I get it. The NFL is an entertainment business. At the end of the day, you know, it's an entertainment, so they got to make money off certain storylines. So, in Philadelphia is not really a light place in sports world. I mean, like whether you're a 76ers fan, whether you're a Flyers fan, and just overall, if you're an Eagles fan, you're not going to be liked anywhere you go, really, because year after year, since I want to say the 90s, the Philadelphia Eagles have been the enemy in everybody's story. The enemies in everybody's story. Like people just hate to see. that midnight green like pop up on the screen. Something about Philly fans and how they interact with fans. Harry Lloyd, a day walker. Well, it is the day, but I'm not walking. But what's up, Harry Lloyd? How you doing, man? Hope your day's going well, my guy. But yeah, man, we're always the enemy in everybody's story. When that midnight green pops up on the television, people just don't know how to react. Hey, Cheryl Merriwood, on the way to away your message, man. Yeah, man, fly was fly, man. Like, hey, man, like you got the right idea, man. Like, I really hope your day is going well. I really hope your day is going well. But why is Philadelphia it, like we're not calling ourselves America's team. We're not going out here advertising to fans like, hey guys, we're going to the Super Bowl next year. Like we're not doing that, like year after year for almost 30 years. Like we're not selling you merchandise, giving you false hope of what's not to come. Like that's what that team in Dallas is doing. That's what that team in Dallas is doing, and that's why they are in the turmoil that they're in right now. Because year after year, Jerry Jones makes billions and millions of dollars off the hopes and dreams that they will see that ugly ass blue and silver and white in the Super Bowl, and they'll see Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith come out the tunnel with the team in the Super Bowl or the NFC conference game because we know they don't make it past the divisional round. So, I mean, like let's just start there. Like dream small first if you're a Cowboys fan. Like let's get past the divisional round. Like let's imagine Jerry, Troy, and Emmett come out of the tunnel, for a win in the divisional round. Like let's go there first. Let's dream there first, because at least the Eagles can say that since the 2000s, we have been carrying the NFC East, and we have been a top 10 team. Well, actually, a top three team in the conference. Only the Giants, the Packers, and maybe you can sprinkle the 49ers in there when you talk about who's really been running the NFC East and the NFC overall. Like I think the Philadelphia Eagles have the most wins, most conference appearances in the NFC. Um, we have been a very successful franchise. If y'all remember back in the early 2000s, it was like we couldn't get away from the NFC conference game because we were always there. Now, mind you, we didn't really, like complete the mission. So if you go by the standard of Super Bowl or bust, it was really a failure. It was really a failure because you didn't win the big game. Now, um, going into this game with the Commanders and the Eagles, if you're a Commanders fan, you couldn't even imagine, man, you can't even honestly imagine as a Commanders fan, you sniffing an NFC conference game your first year with Jay Daniels. No Commanders fan can sit there and tell you the truth and sit out there and bold faced lie that they expected an NFC conference game. No way. If you were to tell me that Jalen Hurts as a rookie, let's just use me and my team as an example, right? If you were to tell me that Jalen Hurts coming into the league, runner-up Heisman winner, doing good and winning at Oklahoma and Alabama, two like premier schools when you talk about NCAA football, and you're telling me that we can sniff a conference game with Jalen Hurts' first year, I would think you're crazy. So I can only imagine. Hey, what's up, E Money Bentley? Yeah, go Birds, baby. Woo! Yeah, man, gonna spank these boys on Sunday. But you couldn't. So if I can't imagine a rookie Jalen Hurts going to the conference game his first year, I can I can only imagine what lack thereof in imagination that a Commanders fan would have for Jaden Daniels his first year. Now I will tell you this, and I will give the Commanders credit. Jaden Daniels is awesome. He's awesome. He's awesome for a rookie quarterback. This is one of the this is the best rookie campaign I have ever seen from a quarterback. The best. And a lot of Commanders fans are saying that this is the worst Washington team they will ever see. And maybe that's true, maybe it's not, because they do gotta build some pieces on the defensive side of the ball. I think they got a real good shot with what's his name, Sanders Israel. Um, Luvu's really good. Bobby Wagner still got some gas in the tank. So you can still add some pieces like to that like defensive side of the ball. But offensively, I don't know what more you can do with that. I mean, you got Jaden Daniels, you got Brian Robinson, you got Austin Eckler, and then on the receiving end, you got Scary Terry, who's been doing really good in the playoffs. You got De'Ami Brown, who's proven that he can be a viable option at that wide receiver two spot. So again, there's some truth and there's some falsehoods in what the Commanders' narratives are pushing that this is the worst Washington team that we'll ever see. I don't think so, man. Like I really don't think that that's all the way true. But going into this conference game in Philadelphia, they definitely have a chance to make some history. But will they? I don't think so. I don't think so because if you're telling me that a rookie, now I know what a rookie did to the Lions. Now that was impressive. I did not see that. If you were to tell me to bet $1,000 on who was going to win that game out of the Commanders and the Lions, I would have bet the whole house on the Lions, and I would have been looking like 2008. Like during the whole recession. I know a lot of y'all probably too young to remember that, but shit, my pockets and my person, my livelihood would have been like 2008 because I didn't foresee the Commanders putting up 45 on the Detroit Lions. But when you factor in that the Lions had, hey David Johnson, hey man, how you doing, man? I hope you're doing well. Hold on, let me make you a moderator on that one. Yeah, okay, there we go. So, yeah, so if you think about it in in an instant, you could say that they had the most injured reserves on that on that Detroit Lions defense. They had 18 players on IR. So I was watching a few content creators, and they were saying collectively that the Detroit Lions were on borrowed time because you only go so far with that many injuries against a hot offense that's coming on a 5 game win streak. Because the Washington Commanders on a 5 game win streak, they're coming into Detroit. You're badly injured, and now that we've seen this narrative that's been proven time and time and like time and time and again that Jared Goff is just not that guy, bro. Like I understand that like he's an amazing talent, a great arm, uh, veteran in this league. He puts up amazing numbers every year. Ben Johnson really knew how to scheme with his strengths and his weaknesses, and I'm curious to see what Ben Johnson is going to do in Chicago, and if Jared Goff is going to take a step back without the ingenuity like of Ben Johnson. It's going to be very interesting, like what Detroit overall as a team looks like, because Aaron Glenn is certainly going to take that Raiders job, or he's probably going to take that other job, the Raiders, or like I can't name the other team right now, but like there are two jobs that Aaron Glenn could take right now, and it's very curious to see like what that like Detroit Lions football team is going to look like next year, especially in a strong division like that. Well, you can't really call the NFC North strong anymore because collectively they've they have a winning record in the regular season, but all of them are 0-3 in the postseason. All of them got knocked out. Uh, like Minnesota got knocked off, like by the Rams, who like hacking in Philadelphia. The Detroit Lions got man, like I think that's got to be talked about. It's had to be the biggest upset in the past 5 years. Like I can't name a bigger upset than the Detroit Lions versus the Washington Commanders, who were I think a 6 or 7 seed, going into your home, and you were the Super Bowl favorite. The Detroit Lions for a long time were a Super Bowl favorite, and to see them get upset by a rookie, mind you, like this rookie won the Heisman, cool, won the national championship in college, like not even 12 months ago, cool. But you got upset by that. And the Commanders are a 5 game win streak. a first year, first year head coach in a new so and talked about. And what's also talked about is the transformation of Washington. Like I don't think we can call them the Blamanders anymore. Even if they're going to get spanked in Philadelphia, which I which I predict and guarantee. I guarantee, like we're going to smash the Commanders when they come to Philadelphia, but it doesn't take away from the story. Um, like yeah, David Johnson, yeah, like not included like free agency, and and it was huge that they lost. Um, did you bet some money on that game? Like, I'm glad I didn't. You know what I'm saying? Make my check didn't come on top of that game. So, thankfully, I didn't lose no money on that one. But just when you really think about it and put it into perspective, man, like it's got to be talked about. Like they're definitely going to be talking about it going into the next season. Like, can you really put the Detroit Lions um in the running for a Super Bowl like after that like performance and with the quarterback in Jared Goff, who you don't know if he's going to take a step back or not. That defense, yeah, they're getting all their starters, like the 18 starters that were on IR, like they're getting them back, but the kind of coordinator that you're going to need to have that same kind of production, it's still up in the air. Like that's still up in the air. So, um, when you talk about Washington going into Philadelphia, the the narrative right now, the driving narrative is Jalen Hurts this, Jalen Hurts that. Can Jalen Hurts get the job done? Well, which I still think is a stupid question. Now, mind you, this is a free country. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has their opinion. Everybody's entitled to that. Whether you like Jalen Hurts, whether you don't like Jalen Hurts, whether you don't like Jalen Hurts for your own particular reason that has to do with football only. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not going to play the race card, but you know, when they did the Josh Allen stats next to Josh Allen stats, they Jalen Hurts' rushing touchdown. I'm not one to play the race card. You know what I'm saying? Like even though it is very real, but if you're including race, like when it comes to Jalen Hurts, I was the best for you. Like I hope your day is going well, your month goes well. Have the right mindset. If you have an opinion about Jalen Hurts that has nothing to do with his race, because it doesn't matter. Because people up in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes to Jalen Hurts, people like look at numbers, this and that, but don't understand that there have been a lot of quarterbacks in history with these same numbers in the playoffs that have won Super Bowls. Like, I looked up some stats like from the '80s, a different era, mind you. I get it. It was a different era. Like, it wasn't passing era then, but it's the same kind of offense. That '80s Denver offense with John Elway, not throwing a lot of passing yards, but having a good line to be successful in the league. Now, I know we're in a pass heavy league right now, uh, but you still need a solid run game because again, going back to those Super Bowls, um, Patrick Mahomes has never thrown for over 250 yards. He's never thrown for over 250 yards. Like even when he beat the Eagles, he threw for less than 200 yards. So the problem with the narrative like that they're spinning about Jalen Hurts is that it has no substance to it because when you go back in history and look at other quarterbacks who have been successful in the playoffs, throwing for less than 200 yards, leaning on the run game, and having a fantastic defense. Like hell, even the 2000s Ravens. The Ravens had the number one defense. They had a good run game behind, like I think what's his name, Jamal Williams or something like that, and they had Trent Dilfer throwing for less than 200 yards. Just don't turn the ball over. And Jalen Hurts has been solid at that. Something that people have criticized him for years of not being able to do is just not turn the ball over. So I think this is going to go well, like, you know what I'm saying, like into that game as well. because the Commanders have the wrong idea. The Commanders are already coming into the game with the wrong idea, and the game hasn't even started yet. They're so worried about Jalen Hurts that they're not even focusing on the guy that just ran 200 yards on the Rams in that solid like defensive front, who I think is a better like defensive front than what they have in Washington. I don't know about the back seven, but when you talk about the battle of the trenches, which is where like most games are won, I, I mean like I gotta put the Rams over there, like Jared Verse, Fisk, um, and then Washington. Like I think they still have some of their number one pieces from like, but they're older, but they're older, and they can be ran on. If you look back at what happened when they blew out Detroit, that defense gave up like 31 points. And if Jared Goff wouldn't have been Jared Goff, and they had a solid quarterback like Jalen Hurts who doesn't turn the ball over, that game could have been well over. And the Detroit Lions also shot themselves in the foot a lot of times in those games, especially when they got in their own territory, where they would go for it on 4th and 3 and not take the points. That's not winning football. Now, now, when it comes to taking the points, I am a little concerned about Jake Elliott, even though he did give us a solid 3 for 3 in that game versus the Rams. He kicked the field goals when we needed them. Now the extra points almost shot us in the foot because he missed all the extra points. So that could shoot us. That almost shot us in the foot, but it didn't. Thankfully, because again, you have a solid defense to run on, and you have a quarterback that doesn't turn the ball over. So I think this is exactly how it's going to go. The Commanders are going to keep it tight the first half of the game. Jalen Hurts is not going to turn the ball over. And then in the second half, like I predict a flurry. If Jalen Hurts like doesn't throw for 250 yards, which a lot of Eagles fans are saying right now that Jalen Hurts is due for a solid passing game. Because if you look at last week, like he could have been well over 200 yards if not for a few drops. He threw a 45-yard bomb, a dot to AJ Brown that he dropped because he had the ball in his hand, but he bobbled it, and then he got in possession of it, but he was already out of bounds. And then that pass to Devontae Smith in the middle of the field, he could have caught that one. He really, really could have caught that one. Um, but I can't really hold Devontae Smith um, to that because he did take a hit. He did take a hit. So, but still though, like if you include those two passes that should have been completed, Jalen Hurts should be well over 200 yards, and they would have nothing more to say because you would have had a 200-yard rusher. You would have had Jalen Hurts throwing for over 200 yards, over 75% completion percentage. I mean, like they would have been talking about the Eagles like they would have been talking about the 2008 Patriots. You know what I'm saying? So, um, like I don't know if the media's like grip is on this. I don't know who's paying these guys to say these things, but even the guys that have played football are just saying the most like just ridiculous things, and which makes me believe that like it makes money to rage bait Eagles fans. Like that's exactly what it is, and I've come to accept it. Like at this point, like it is what it is. Um, so going into this game, I think, man, I think that we're gonna catch a body. I think that we're gonna catch a body in Philly. It's gonna be stinky. Like they gonna need CSI Philadelphia come in that motherfucker because it's gonna be so bad, man. Like Washington doesn't know what to get into. Like I like what Jane Daniels is doing. I like what the kid represents, man. If he didn't play for Washington, man, I would get the man jersey, bro, because we haven't seen anything like this in a long, long time. I know people talk about Joe Flacco and Ben Roethlisberger, but this kid, Jay Daniels, hey man, like he's one of the ones. Like we're talking about a guy that could be potentially a top 3 quarterback going into this next year. We're talking about a guy that is talking about being a playoff favorite, a Super Bowl contender going into next year, especially if he has a okay game. in the conference game, but he still loses, which I predict he's going to do, probably very badly. If he plays well, like in the conference game, but still loses, I think they'll still have him as a top three, top five quarterback at that, because you can't put him over guys that have done that before. Like you can't put him over Joe Burrow. Obviously, you can't put him over Patrick Mahomes. You certainly can't put him over Josh Allen right now because Josh Allen is going into a conference game. I think this is his second one. Um, so you can't put him over those three guys, and then Lamar Jackson. I mean, you can't put him over Lamar Jackson because Lamar Jackson is a two-time MVP, probably going to be three-time MVP, like depending on how the voters, vote and like look at that game. Because even though Lamar Jackson like had two turnovers in that game, I still like his passer rating was still pretty good, and he had a good QBR. So I think they'll still like give him a nod. But if they don't, like it'll be a very close race for MVP. Um, like especially like if Josh Allen plays well, like I'll say if Josh Allen beats the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City, I'll say that Josh Allen is a huge favorite of MVP. I'll say he's a huge favorite. But if he plays like he did versus Baltimore, and loses, oh yeah, like Lamar Jackson's going to get that because Lamar Jackson still played well in that loss to Buffalo, and he's had a better season overall than Josh Allen. Like no matter what people say about Lamar Jackson having a 1,900-yard rusher, like it really doesn't matter. Like you look at the numbers and you look at the impact he has on his team. You know, because Lamar Jackson being there opens up more holes for Derrick Henry. Just like Jalen Hurts being there opens up more holes for Saquon. Because if we look at what Saquon was doing in New York behind Daniel Jones, the numbers are a drastic difference. And if we look at what Derrick Henry did in Tennessee behind Ryan Tannehill versus what he's doing with Lamar, it's just a drastic difference. It's a drastic difference, man. Like, I mean, that's why I just don't understand the media grift talking about like Jalen Hurts' impact on the offense. Um, yeah, did y'all not see that 44-yard scramble that Jalen Hurts did? Like, did y'all not see like Jalen Hurts like have almost 200 yards? Like, do we not understand that Jalen Hurts outplayed Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, had a better pass rating, better QBR, more yards, more touchdowns? Yeah, people talk about that first half fumble, um, but the Eagles still had a 10-point lead and they scored after that. So that fumble really doesn't even like equate to the narrative like how they're trying to push. Um, and it's going to be a great game for all to see, man. And I'm glad it's on Sunday and they didn't flex it back to Saturday because that Kansas City Buffalo game is going to be pretty boring. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I think a lot of people would agree that the Kansas City Buffalo game should be flexed to Saturday and make a more interesting game, the NFC on Sunday. So we got more content on the way, guys. I really appreciate you guys coming in and supporting me how you do. We're on the road to monetization this year, man. Like this is our year. This is our year for this channel, man. We got more content on the way. Sports entertainment, man. Like y'all run the likes up. Y'all keep, man, like showing love to your boy in the comments, man. And tell him what you think, man. Like, like who are your picks for this game? Like shout out to David Johnson, man. Like thanks for showing up, man. And guys, remember to like, subscribe. We got more content on the way. It's just my battery's going out, so I can't talk a little longer. The signal going out, so y'all be easy, man. Y'all have a nice rest of y'all's day. Salute, your boys out here.